Hello and greetings. We're here at Feeding the Soul Online World Summit, and I'm really honored to be participating with you today. This is Maxime, Zahra. Thank you so much for joining me. As you can see, the title of this program is The Four Medicines Evolution, a breakthrough in planetary health through alignment of body, mind, and soul. In this session, I'm going to sketch out a vision and a system for bringing your body, mind, and soul into alignment with the consciousness of life itself. Listen, I know if you're here, you are smart and you are aware, and you've probably read everything you can get your hands on and tried as many approaches to getting your health, hands, and heart in gear to create life as you know it can be. And we only have about 45 minutes today, so I hope you'll excuse me for dispensing with the formalities and the long drawn-out intro and dive right in. The Four Medicines Evolution is for anyone who has a health issue that is getting in the way of daily function. Your issues may be physical, emotional, psychological, spiritual, or a combination of all four. You may be in recovery and you've come a long way and you've been working on maintaining, but you know you could optimize. You may be overwhelmed by your job or business and balancing your family life, friendships, or a primary relationship. You may be losing some of your mental acuity, your memory, losing things, or having a hard time reaching for words. Maybe it's getting a little harder to keep up with innovations in the workplace. Or you may know that you have some serious life stressors, chronic illness, mental health challenges, addiction, adrenal fatigue, or thyroid dysfunction. You may have a deep spiritual longing that is not being met in your daily life. If any of this feels like you're in the right place. In the next 45 minutes or so, I'm going to show you how to handle any kind of stress that comes your way with ease and grace, even if you think that's totally impossible. How to preserve your energy so you have more at the end of the day instead of less. How to improve any health condition you're dealing with, even though you've already tried everything. And how to take charge of your life with integrity while surrendering to your higher power. In the next 45 minutes, I'm going to share one extremely powerful practice that will transform your life if you do it. This practice and others like it are derived from ancient traditions and have been used by people who have endured incredible trials, people we call wisdom elders, who we look to today for guidance and insight, for healing for us as individuals, and equally for humanity, for the evolutionary healing that we are being called to at this time. Nina Gwalinga says that indigenous people are 4% of the world's population, just a fraction, but they are protecting more than 80% of the Earth's biodiversity. We will not survive as a species without these people and their precious knowledge. There's nothing for sale today, but I do have a really cool gift for you. I'm going to give you a step-by-step spiritual and physical formula that I follow to sustain and build my energy, vitality, mental clarity, and radiating presence. Now, I generally give this only to my clients who are spending thousands of dollars a month to work with me. If I had to put a price on the formula, I would say maybe $300. But today, for everyone who sticks with me till the end of the webinar, I'm going to give it to you for free, along with the opportunity to join me for a one-on-one discovery session, a conversation with me personally to assess your role and readiness for this evolution in personal and planetary health. Honestly, the routine alone is priceless, as it has been passed down for generations and generates proven results for everyone who's followed it. The discovery session, which is also my gift to you for attending the webinar today, is an opportunity for you to become crystal clear about the source of the problems you are facing, mentally, physically, emotionally, or spiritually, your goals and visions, your obstacles to achieving them, and how to overcome each and every one of them. Stick with me to the end of the program, and I'll let you know how to take advantage of these priceless gifts. Do you secretly know your work in the world is suffering because something is off physically, psychologically, emotionally, or from not living your life from your authentic purpose? Are you working way too hard, totally overwhelmed by a list of never-ending tasks to accomplish? Are you burning yourself out? Do you see other people around you living the life you dream of and you have no idea how they're doing it? Do you feel like electronics are taking over your life, making it hard to connect in person with people and just making you more stressed out instead of being an asset? Do you feel like there's an invisible ceiling on how great your life can be? I know that life is hard and stressful at times. You have to work to pay for housing, bills, your family's needs, but you don't always feel like you don't always feel like going to work. Your health may be suffering, or you're not fulfilled by the way you earn your living. You're too tired at the end of the day to express the creative ideas that keep you up nights. Maybe you've lost your inspiration and any sense that you could ever contribute in a meaningful way. You seem to lack the energy or the creativity or the drive. There are big issues facing all of humanity. You know you have a role to play, something more you should be and could be doing, but it's barely enough to just make it through each day. How will you ever rouse the energy to make it all work? You might even think you're the problem, or your spouse is the problem. If only you could change this one thing, fix this one thing. But in reality, the problems you face are much more than personal issues unique to just you. The real problem is that humanity has lost its way. Somewhere along the path, your ancestors let go of the ancient truths that had sustained them since the beginning of time. These truths, which were once shared freely among the people, were set down. Where other people were still living in alignment with these ways, the colonists broke them, killed or enslaved them, destroyed their precious cultures. All over the world, this domination and destruction continues today. Many of these old traditions went underground or were lost entirely, and for a long time were unavailable to most of humanity. But in just a few moments, I'm going to share some of their secrets with you. And once you know, you will never be the same. Your appetite will begin to match your capacity to digest and metabolize your experience and your food. You'll realize that the invisible ceiling on your happiness was never even there, and you'll pop through faster than you ever thought possible. Once you know, you will become a co-generator and a co-creator in the greatest evolution on the planet to date, the evolution of consciousness. And you'll do all of this while tapping back into the joy you first had when you first started out. I'm going to walk you through the 4 medicines today and give you back some ways to use them to make the shifts that will bring the different parts of you back into alignment. Because these medicines constitute all we need to be whole, to heal the wounds of separation. So listen, my friends, before we get into that, I'm going to take 30 seconds to introduce myself so you'll know who I am and that I know what the hell I'm talking about and what makes me qualified to take you where you want to go with your health, your consciousness, and your precious life force. I'm a soul worker, coaching and teaching holistic nutrition and mind-body medicine on 3 continents and from New York to California. My specialty is taking the toughest cases even my teachers wouldn't touch and facilitating a turnabout in health and quality of life previously thought impossible. I lead wisdom circles and fire circles for women and men, perform hands-on healing, and run a holistic health and nutrition counseling practice based on the community healing model. I host the community radio show Native Earth Sanctuary, which streams live around the world at KOWS.FM. So this is me, this is who I am, and the work I was given to do in the world. But you know what? It wasn't always like this. So let me tell you a little bit about how I discovered the four medicines. As a little girl, I grew up in a big, exciting city, smack dab in the center of New York. I come from good people and was raised by creative parents with a mountain of love and acceptance. But from the age of 5, I was certain that there was something missing. Telephones ringing off the hook, the constant stimulation, clanging and clatter day and night, eating on the run, the focus on what was happening around us, in the media, in the news, on the street, rather than within, was completely distracting. But from what, I didn't yet know. One day, in a terrific upset, I fell to my knees and I began to pray. This God that I was praying for help to looked like some image I'd seen somewhere. An old white man with long white hair and robes. He wasn't my God, but that image was all I had in the way of a higher power, because from all the horrors in the world that have been perpetrated in the name of religions, my ancestors had rejected all the gods and had passed no sense of reverence, respect, or faith, or any of those old ways of anchoring in the world to their grandchild. In that moment on my knees, a light bulb went off in my 8-year-old mind. I realized that my family may not have had a relationship to a higher power, a God or great mystery, but I did. And I became fascinated by the people on the planet who lived closest with the earth, without expensive clothing and toys, and homes that insulated and separated them from their surroundings and one another. And as I grew up, I sought out and met teachers from some of these lineages. I apprenticed myself with healers, medicine people, and great spiritual leaders and gurus from whom I learned of the four medicines. For these medicines may be a secret to you, as they were to me, but they were known to the ancient ones universally. I've had the chance to work with scores of professionals, artists, and regular people from around the world, and some of these people had some incredible breakthroughs, which were absolutely life-changing, and happened in just a short couple of weeks, where they went from near despairing and giving up on life to thriving and creating again. Others had pretty good results, which I think are actually pretty awesome, where they'd been having such a hard time with their health that they had become agoraphobic, afraid to leave their homes, and they were able to overcome their conditions, issues that the conventional medical system failed to help them with. And then some of them were people who came in and they just couldn't hack it. They wanted a quick pill, or to be fixed without engaging in their own healing, and then they didn't get any results, no matter what I did. So as I began to look at these different people, and it wasn't just the people I was working with, it was the people my colleagues were working with, women and men whose health would either thrive or fall apart. And I got to watch all these people in various sorts of health crises over the course of the last few years. And I discovered that the top achievers, the ones who had the greatest breakthroughs and turnarounds, attended to 4 very specific parts of their lives. And all these other factors, such as blood type or metabolic type or gut type or what age they were, didn't really seem to change this. The people who succeeded and became inspiring leaders in their communities were the people who were attending to these 4 things. And I believe that if you can just integrate these 4 elements into your lives, that you'll be able to create the dynamic and revolutionary health and vitality that you're seeking. So, there are 4 elemental medicines which you must integrate into your awareness, your being, and your life to make the shifts you are seeking. The teachings on these 4 elements, on which our lives are founded, and without which there would be no life at all, are precious and hold the gift of healing and awakening. I peel back the veil so you can begin to uncover these teachings for yourselves. But integrating them into your life takes ways that are passed on hand to hand through the oral tradition and step by step as you make relations with each other over time. And then you begin to see how they have been seeded within you all along. These are the medicines for your body, your mind, your emotions, and your soul. The very first medicine is the medicine of the earth. The earth we stand upon. Have you ever noticed the difference in how you feel when you walk upon the supple earth versus the hard and unyielding pavement of our concrete roads and sidewalks? What happens when you're on a trail in a forest or hopping over boulders on a mountainside? You have to be very mindful, don't you? The ground is not level or predictable. If you were listening, you might hear Earth Mother whispering to you, "Pay attention, child. Watch your step. Feel your way with all of your senses. Be very quiet." This is very different to how we proceed in the city. There's so much racket, we have to tune it out or we would be constantly overstimulated. In fact, we are perpetually overstimulated, and our stress response is activated over and over and over again every single day, even when there is no apparent threat to our safety. This is one of the reasons why stress is the modern scourge, causing every known disease from which humanity suffers today. Whether it is endocrine imbalances causing everything from fatigue and insomnia to infertility, or metabolic disturbances causing weight gain, weight loss, overweight, undereating, underabsorbing our food, an epidemic of digestive distress, hypertension, even cancer. The solution is to get on the earth as often as possible. Just laying your body on the earth in the sunshine when you're anxious will calm your nervous system. It is almost instantaneous. If you can't get to a patch of bare earth or sand, then you must ground yourself energetically. The earth teaches us that we are bioelectrical, bioenergy encapsulated in these sacs of skin. She teaches us that we are made of her dust and that we have access to our great mother at all times with the power of our mind and energy. She says, "Plug in. I'm your power source. Use me." She also encourages us to give her our love and gratitude. Our beloved earth is suffocating under all the pavement. Earth wants to feel our soft feet upon her body. She wants to feel your energy and loving attention with every step you make, with every conscious breath you take. I will show you in just a bit a way that you can ground yourself anywhere that you are and energetically plug in, feeling the earth, sending her your love and appreciation, and filling your cup. The second medicine is the air. Ah, sweet breath of life. The sky is filled with it. Life itself demonstrates the innate interdependence of all life. When all animals breathe, our exhalation becomes the inhalation of the trees and plant life on the planet. When they exhale their oxygen, they give us our in-breath. This is what the native people call the sacred hoop. Air teaches us about cycles and circles, and about the power and essence of the unseen forces that stir within and around us, that dance with us. What do you do when you are starving for air? One woman I've worked with, Katrina, confessed that she smoked a cigarette so she can take a deep breath. How many asthmatics do you know who smoke cigarettes or marijuana for the same reason? Why do they think that is the only way to breathe deeply? This is insanity. But indigenous cultures everywhere have breath practices, ways of moving the air through our system for various purposes. Air taught the first people to make prayers with tobacco, long considered a sacred medicine to the Native American Indians. Taking smoke in this way is a sacrifice and an offering, potentiating prayers and blowing them with the smoke skyward to the unseen helpers, to the Creator, like a great gust of wind that sweeps clean a place for dreams to take form. In the yogic tradition, this is called pranayama. Specialized breathing exercises bring balance between the right and left hemispheres of the brain, the masculine and the feminine within ourselves. They invoke the deities and clear out the psychic and karmic debris, digesting emotions and dissolving tension. Air will teach you how to breathe and to live as a two-legged, and offer your breath to our plant relatives for life to continue in a sacred way and a good way. The third medicine is fire, the fire of the sun, Surya, the precious sun, which all of our plant relatives need for fuel to grow and become green. The fire we cook our food with. Fire is dangerous. There's a Greek myth that tells us about the power of the sun, in which Daedalus, the brilliant architect, and his son Icarus are imprisoned by King Minos in the labyrinth that Daedalus himself had designed. To plan his escape from the labyrinth of his mind, Daedalus developed a wondrous new technology, a set of wings he crafted from willow and wax, so they could fly out of the maze to their freedom. Daedalus warns Icarus to be careful not to fly too close to the sun, where the intense heat will surely cause the wax to melt and the wings to fall apart. This is a new technology after all, and the first time that man has been victorious over the laws of nature and gravity. But alas, Icarus is so exhilarated by his proximity to the sun, his freedom and solo flight at an altitude no man has yet attained, flies too close and at his peril, for indeed his wings do melt and he falls to his death. The Plains Indians of the territory we call North America refer to the fire as our grandfather. Those who are entrusted with caring for the fire, called firekeepers, carry the wood and kindling, fix and tend the fire, often all night long, with great tenderness and respect, such as we would have for our most revered elder. We are taught to pay close and loving attention to Grandpa, watching and feeling with our senses, even when our attention might be drawn elsewhere. We learn from the wisdom of the grandfather. And if we listen closely, he tells us what he needs. How to keep the fire bright in the darkness, to keep our family warm without burning everyone out of hearth and home. Fire is within you too, as the fire of digestion, known in the East, in India, as Agni. The Celts had great fire ceremonies, as did the people of Northern Europe, who use it traditionally to heat their cleansing saunas. In Asia, they do fire pujas. In Africa, there are rites of passage that involve walking across burning hot coals. All over the world, traditional peoples have held ceremonies that were centered around the sacred fire and shared the stories and the teachings that sustain life. Fire is essential, and fire can be deadly. People must be mentored by those who have been initiated, who know the way, the teaching stories, and can guide them expertly. Water is the fourth medicine, water of life. We can go a long time without food, but without water, you would not last more than 4 days. Our bodies are 70% water. We are more water than we know. When was the last time you felt anxious and immersed yourself in a body of running water? The ocean, a river. What did you notice? Every cell in your body sings, "Thank you." Even if the water's cold, some part of you relaxes deeply. Your mind is gone from the never-ending to-do list. You are only there with the water spirit. You float, you swim, you become one. Every great religion has a water ritual. The rite of baptism in Christianity, bathing in and offering the ashes of the dead to the sacred Ganges River of India, where she's considered the great mother and purifier of all. The Jewish mikveh is a ritual bath, the Finnish sauna for purification, and the Native American sweat lodge. When was the last time you made an offering to the water? Have you ever done so? You must honor the water. There are more and more people on the earth who have no access to clean drinking water. You might consider the recent debacle in Flint, Michigan. Just now in North Dakota, the Standing Rock Sioux Nation have been joined by tribes from all over the world to protect the Missouri River from contamination by oil and fracking concerns. At times, there are 7,000 people camped alongside that sacred river to prevent the construction of a giant oil pipeline that threatens a wide swath of the Missouri. What has become of us? How could our greed cause us to pollute our sacred waterways? Without clean water, there is no life. From this historic gathering, the slogan is gaining strength. Water is life. It doesn't get more elemental than this. So now you see that the four medicines we are speaking about are the very elements that you are made of. Your blood and bones, your mind and your breath, these elemental medicines bind you to your life and to every other life form on the planet, to every other person, creature, and plant, which is the world as we know it. The fire in the form of lava flows, mixing with the rushing waters of the earth, carve the land masses. So you are connected to the mountains in this way too, something that you might have once thought of as inanimate. By now, your perspective might have changed in relation to these aspects of life which you once took for granted. Now when you feel your pain, and you think you are alone, and you feel despairing, you will remember that the currents of these medicines are in you and actually energize and connect you to the whole of creation. And this will calm your stress response, and you will slowly heal and repair and become whole. This is a promise. And what you are about to experience is just the tiniest of flavors, a taste of what is available. You will want more. You will need guidance to put practices such as these to good use. The image you're viewing is a mandala inspired by the Tibetan form of sacred imagery that is used in open-eyed meditation. We don't have time to elaborate on this form in this presentation, but you should know that every part of the mandala is significant. Every color has a purpose, and it is imbued with prayers and mantras to bring about a specific vibration for the healing of the one that gazes upon it, to evoke a state of oneness through the sacred medicines of life, Mother's gift to us. Before we begin the meditation, if you haven't set your webinar window to full screen, do so now. And now I invite you to drop down away from the realm of information, and allow the image and the colors to penetrate your being. Become soft and open to this infusion. Allow your breath to deepen as you intentionally slow your inhalation, holding for a moment at the top of the breath, and then slowly, slowly exhale again, pausing at the very bottom of your exhalation before you breathe in again. As the mandala begins to pulse, sync your breath to the expansion and dissolution of the image so that you expand your lungs, diaphragm, and belly as the form opens, and release your breath as the form telescopes closed, revealing the emptiness of deep space. Taking some time to acclimate to this new rhythm, recognize that with every breath you make, you are creating the world. And with every release of breath, you acknowledge the dissolution of all creation. You let it go, fully let it go, and let it be. Breathing in with awareness, syncing up with her creation, recognizing the significance of your role, your participation in this sacred life at this time. For as the Hopi elders say, this is the time we have been waiting for, and we are the ones. Continuing to breathe now, focus on your breath. Feel your breath coming from your heart center, send it outward. And when you breathe in, draw your breath from the universe to your heart chakra, that sacred energy center in your chest. Begin to feel where your gratitude lies now. You may be grateful for a person, a feeling, an experience, or even this practice. Whatever arises in gratitude, embrace this now and draw it into your heart, sending your gratitude out to all of creation with your exhalation. See how your gratitude flows into what you are creating in your life. Feel your gratitude at the heart center and the pulsating rhythm of your heart in sync with the pulse of creation. Finally, notice where your gaze falls on the mandala. Is it the centermost hoop, the precious waters? Is it the mountains and trees of this green and brown earth? The blue sky and clouds of the air? The flames of the fire leaping into the dark night? Or perhaps you are drawn to the violet lotus petals of the outermost ring, representing your spirit or soul. Whichever part you rest upon, immerse yourself and your rhythmic, pulsating gratitude, and give thanks for this element. Now, if you have a piece of paper handy, take a minute to free write without forcing anything. Jot down your impressions and a few words that describe your state of awareness. What landed with you, or what would you like to explore further in this practice? For those of you who don't have paper, take a moment and consider this for yourselves. And then, what is an area of your life where you could stand to bring this promised calm and feeling of oneness to? One area of your life where you are struggling and which feels difficult or painful when you remember. In this brief experience of open-eyed meditation with the Four Medicines practice, we can see that this is truly food for the soul. In a few short minutes of breathing at this pace, the brain actually becomes entrained with the rhythm of the heart, expanding infinitely the realm of pure potentiality. The Buddhists speak of enfolding the mind into the heart. And this is one of the technologies that we can use to ensure that the keen human mind always remains in service to the wisdom of the heart. Now, when we speak of the heart in this manner, by the way, I'm not speaking of romance, infatuation, or fantasy, no, but of the immense energy field of the love light that resides at this energy center in the human body. This field has been measured, expanding outward up to 8 feet at least, and the emotion that expands it as far as it has been measured, that grows it more than any other feeling that we are capable of, that is the immense range of emotional possibility, is gratitude. This proves that how we feel affects everyone and everything in at least an 8-foot radius, and that we can impact others for the good by intentionally generating a state of gratitude. Gratitude is indeed food for the soul. Yet if this is so, why haven't you created a sacred space to drop into such a state regularly and often? For the same reason that you eat highly processed foods that are far from their original nourishing whole state, denatured, full of chemicals and artificial colors and preservatives, which poison your biochemical, bioelectrical, and bioenergetic field. It is no wonder your health, your vitality, your mood, and your capacity and function suffer. It is time to return to a whole foods diet. When we consume whole foods, we take in complete nourishment. A balanced diet includes wholesome, healthy, organic food, animal, vegetable, mineral, and a wholesome spiritual practice that incorporates the elements, the same elements in the food you eat, the water you drink, that you are made of, that bind you to the earth, air, water, and fire themselves. This is Gwen. Gwen was a colitis patient who came to see me depressed, anxious, and with trouble sleeping from a gut-wrenching pain and diarrhea that had her running to the bathroom 4 to 5 times a day, making her life a living nightmare. She was all puffy from the prednisone she'd been prescribed to control her pain, which was not working, and had just been recommended surgery to remove a portion of her colon that her doctor thought was causing her trouble. This active woman was desperate for a solution that would not cut her into pieces and would help her live a normal, healthy life. In a few short months, Gwen was off the steroids, pain-free, with her bowel function normalized. Though she's a primary caretaker for an elderly mother with dementia, her mother's fits no longer keep her up nights. The anxiety and depression have resolved. She no longer craves sugar, has begun to lose the extra weight she was carrying, realizing now that she had overridden her basic needs and instincts, making choices and compromises in her life that did not serve her. Gwen first learned how to eat specifically for her unique needs. I gave her supplemental nutrients and practices to support her healing, and now she's learning to honor her own rhythms and inner guidance system. Gwen's painful condition was a sign to pay attention. Jayanti, which is not her actual name or her actual face, was a young woman, a single parenting her 6-year-old son. She was recovering from PTSD from a past relationship with a man who turned out to be a dangerous stalker. She is a very high-functioning business coach and had done an incredible job pulling herself back from the edge of sanity. But she came to me to help her get the rest of the way home. Her energy and mental capacity were stalling out every day in the afternoon. Her moods were up and down, unrelated to daily events, and she didn't want to go on medication for her anxiety and hypervigilance. Her energy, mental function, and mood were balanced in no time, and she was on her way medication-free. Now grounded in her earth body, Jayanti was able to respond positively to the physical, emotional, and cognitive demands of her life. Lawrence is a sculptor who was referred to me through a mutual friend. He had struggled his entire life from PTSD from childhood abuse. After his wife divorced him and his beloved dog died, he had fallen into a deep despair. He was living in a room he rented far from his art studio, alone and with no will to live. He had not worked in almost a year, and his bank balance was dwindling. He had such a tormented sleep that doctors had prescribed him a slew of prescription cocktails to manage his depression and help him to sleep, but none of them worked. And they caused such side effects that he finally stopped them all cold turkey and sent his body on a nightmare journey of panic and anxiety and what had become a protracted withdrawal from a benzodiazepine class of medication. When he walked into my office, I saw a pale and hunched creature, a ghost of a man. Within the hour and a half I spent with him that first day, the color returned to his face and he began to smile. I worked with Lawrence for over a year on and off, and in this time was able to connect him back with the earth. He had been an avid surfer, an animal lover who rode horses bareback in his youth, and a prolific and brilliant artist. I started by feeding him like a baby, providing nutrients to help calm his brain and body from the electrical effects of the benzos. I discovered and nurtured his relationship with his Native American roots and spirituality, and he began to sing and share songs he hadn't sung in many years. After a while, he began to paint, and not long after that, he picked up his carving tools again and stepped back into a role of service, taking care of fire for all-night prayer services in the Native American church to assist and support in the healing prayers of others. In this image, you can see him in his garden studio, carving an enormous piece of pink Portuguese marble. It is such an honor to help people step into their optimal expression and work in the world. Every one of us is needed. So this is why I have created the 4 Medicines Evolutionary Health Breakthrough for planetary and personal health. This is an 8-week spiritual, physical, and mental reset for highly motivated people who know that it is time for a body-mind upgrade, so you can be living your soul purpose now. This breakthrough program involves one-on-one evaluation and coaching with me, along with a legendary community healing model accessible through a private Facebook group, so participants have a sangha to learn and practice along with as they make shift after shift. Modules are released every week with assignments to do between sessions, and will be on group calls every week where you can ask all your questions, as well as being able to access me through the group page and via email. I hold your hand every step of the way, so your spiritual emergence will never become an emergency. I don't know of another program that offers such a visionary, holistic model of health, healing, and preparation for a life of service. But spiritual retreats, mystery schools, and addiction rehab programs, and deep cleanse retreats range in price from $10,000 to $45,000 a pop, not including travel expenses. This program is offered entirely online, meaning that you are learning and integrating in the comfort of your home, where you'll be living during and after you complete this evolutionary immersion program. So there is no adjustment to make to your normal life when the program is complete. You already know the cost of not taking inspired action. You have lived with the tension and conflict of not being able to do it all, everything you were called to do, and the anxiety and fatigue from trying. You experience the split, the isolation, and the separation engendered by modern life. Today, I invite you to step into a way of life in which oneness, safety, and connection are your norm. A sacred space where you are acknowledged for all of who you are, and you can discover your unique gifts and begin to express them fully in your life. I invite you to apply to see if you're a good fit for the 4 Medicines Evolutionary Health Breakthrough for Planetary and Personal Health. This program is priced at just $6,997, as if one could put a price on transformation. But for participating in Feeding the Soul, for all of you who apply today, I will cut $3,000 off the price. For $39.97, you can join an evolutionary movement. I invite you to make history today. And please don't delay, because these spots will fill up quickly, and I want you to be part of the evolution. Copy this link into your browser now to schedule your free call. Once you book, you will be sent an application and the spiritual formula I promised you in the beginning of the webinar. The web link is meetme.so/Maxime Zahra, MaximeZahra. And you can also find me here at prasadnutrition.com. It has been an honor and a privilege to meet you here today. I look forward to more to come. Until we meet again, this is Maxime Zahra.